What's up, YouTubers? Serial entrepreneur Jordan Steen here, and in this episode we're going to talk about one quick thing with regards to sales and closing clients, and it's called the follow-up. If you haven't heard of the follow-up before, you need to stay tuned. Check it out. Alright guys, so like I said, in this video we're going to talk about the follow-up. What is the follow-up with regards to sales and how you should execute it, and then I actually am going to include my follow-up cycle, how I follow up with customers to ensure that I'm closing as many of them as possible. So before we get started, if you have not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe so that way you can get all of the updates and information that we give out for free. It's all for entrepreneurs, marketers, business owners, whatever. We do it all for you guys. So make sure to click that subscribe button below. Also, you'll see right here are my social media channels. If you want, you can follow us there and shoot us a message so that way we can start a conversation. Outside of that, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So, the sales follow-up. Why is it important? Basically, what the sales follow-up is you're doing all of this work to acquire new customers, potential customers, right? You're going out, you're talking to new people, cold traffic, right? But you've never talked to them before. So you expect that you're going to have to follow back up with them to close the deal or set the meeting, whatever it may be, right? And that's the most important thing. So people will reach out and they'll call a business and say, yeah, when can we meet up? And they say, oh, well, we're not ready for another month. And that person basically just takes that business and it gets lost in la la land when they almost just told you that in a month from now, they're willing to talk to you about what you can do for marketing for them. So, or for anything, whatever business service you're running. I personally run a marketing agency. So you want to understand that when they tell you a specific time, you need to follow up with them in that specific time and say, look, you told me to follow up. Put their own words in their mouth. You told me to follow up with you now. That's why I'm giving you a call now. Just wanted to see if I was able to come in and set that meeting with you. So that's all the follow-up is. So we're making sure that we're touching every customer as many times as possible, or potential customer as many times as possible before they actually close the deal. And you do the same thing with online sales. So whether this is you trying to get customers for your business, for your marketing agency, or it's for you trying to get leads online or sales online, that's all you're doing. You're following up with them. That's what retargeting or remarketing is. It's the follow-up via online sales. So here's some basic ways, and again, if you want to get the information that I'm talking about right now, we have it all in our blog articles, in our blog section over at serialentrepreneur.academy. This one is called the follow-up because it's about sales, so it's you can find it over there in our blog if you want to follow along with this video. Alright, so some basic ways to research your prospects. Number one, and this is kind of the pre-information what you should do, and that way it kind of helps you figure out what's the best way that you can reach back out to them, and then what's the best way you can actually get them to follow through with what you talk to them about on the first time you talk to them, right? So the first time you're trying to talk to them, you're usually trying to set up a meeting or get a phone call where you can have a conversation, and then after that you're trying to set, close the sale or maybe set the proposal meeting, whatever step of the sale you're in. But here's some basic ways you can research your prospects. You will want to know who the decision makers are, who is actually in charge of making that purchasing decision, because you don't want to waste your time with a manager or someone who has no authority with regards to whether they can actually make that purchase or not. There's just no point in doing that. So I like to be direct and get straight to the decision maker. So to do that, to find them, here's some easy ways, and I'll even throw some bonus tricks in there. But number one is you can Google them. Literally, if you know their name, type in their name into Google and the name of their business and see what information you can find out about them. See if they have a LinkedIn page where they include their phone number. Go to their Facebook page, click the About section, and sometimes they'll leave their personal email, not their personal email, but their business email that is directly to them, or their personal phone line, cell phone number, in the About section on Facebook. That's a good way to find it. So some other things you're going to want to do, I like to create a spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet with their name, the business, the URL, the time I contacted them. This is something basic, and I'm actually going to include a Excel document, or the Excel document that I use in the very beginning to facilitate this follow-up. So a lot of people like to use a CRM. I'm actually going to be putting together a video on CRMs and the importance of them. But in the beginning, a CRM can maybe be out of the budget and you don't want to spend the money there if you don't have to, because it's not something you necessarily have to have right this minute to get results and to get sales, right? So what I typically like to do in the beginning, or when I started a business, what I did was I created an Excel spreadsheet, and I literally just put in the first name the first and last name of the person, the business name, the phone number, the email, the time I reached out to them, what happened in the conversation. So I'll upload that. I'm actually going to upload that spreadsheet to the blog article. So if you want to check that out, all you have to do is go there and you can download your own copy. Next is going to be track more contact information. So you should keep track of every time you communicate with that prospective client. So it's not just the actual information of the customer. That's easy to find. You can go on Google and find that. That Excel document with that information just makes it quicker for you to find. The important thing that comes out of that is what was said during the phone call. Did they say, no, we're not interested at all, never call back, or we're going to call the cops on you? Or did they say, yeah, give us a call back in 3 weeks, we might be able to set a meeting then, the doctor's just busy right now. You know, you have to actually take notes on what's happening and keep that updated with the date that you actually made that call or that point of contact, right? So tracking that information, tracking the conversations, all of that is going to be super important in making sure you get the best results out of your follow-up. Now, like I mentioned, I have a specific cycle I like to follow because you don't want to be annoying, right? But how often should you be reaching out to them? What channels should you be reaching out to them on? This kind of is a guide that I would recommend you use when you're actually following up. So it can be difficult to find the right balance when following up with contacts. You don't want to become a nuisance, which will only ensure a rejection, and you want to make sure you're choosing the right moment to reach out again. It's a good idea to look at each step of your current process to identify areas that could use improvement. So after you've sent your initial contact email, or you've sent a message, or you talk to them on the phone, right? Once you made that first point of contact, you're going to want to wait at least 3 days. That's what I typically like to do. 2 to 3 days. It can be 2, but I wouldn't go any less than 2 complete days before you reach back out to them. You don't want to annoy the mess out of them, especially if they told you the first time that you talked to them that they have a really busy week. You don't want to become a nuisance, right? So I typically like to wait about 2 to 3 days, usually 3 days before I actually email or message or call them back again, right? And when I'm calling or emailing or messaging about this, or when I'm doing that first follow-up, I'm usually reiterating what I sent in the first message, or I'm checking to see if they actually received it. So I have a reason. Like I'm not just messaging them to message them. I usually say something like, hey, I sent over this document the other day. It's a free document that includes this. I just wanted to make sure you actually received it and that you were able to download it without any problems. That's all you want to do. You don't want to sit there and say, can we set a meeting? Like you're becoming too salesy at that point. Work them through the process, get them comfortable with talking to you in the first place, and then try to get them to set up a meeting. Alright, so this is a great chance to reinforce your message, like I said, and showcase the significance of your product. After 7 days, so you do the first one 3 days, after that you wait another 7 days and send them another email, a message, or call them again. After that, you're going to wait 12 days, so if you've reached out to them at this point, so before the 12-day period, that means that you've reached out to them once. 3 days later, you reached out to them again, so that's 4 days. And then 7 days later, you reached out to them again. So if I had another finger, that would be 11 days, right? That's a total of an 11-day period where you've already reached out to them 3 times in 2 weeks, right? So you don't want to kill it. So that's why we more than double the next time you reach out to them. So you're going to wait 12 days and move them to that part in your funnel. Or that part in your sales cycle, or the follow-up period, whatever you want to call it, where you're waiting 12 days to talk with them. So you can actually, in that Excel document, you can put in there next appointment date or next call date, and you can actually just keep up with it that way. It makes it super easy. So after 12 days, what I recommend doing is if they still haven't, responded to your message or your email or a phone call, that's when I recommend actually maybe driving up to the business, dropping off something valuable for them. Don't just drop off what your services are and what your pricing is. They don't care about that. Drop off something valuable for that business that they can use that day or later that week to get better results for their marketing campaigns. You can even maybe drop off send them an email with a bunch of images inside of it and then drop off like a quick little note that says, hey, we sent you 5 Facebook images that you can upload for your business for free here to this email. Feel free again to download those, upload them to your Facebook this week as your Facebook posts. Something like that, right? But you want to actually go out there and get in front of them because obviously the emailing, the messaging, the phone calls are not working. So get in front of them. Try something different. Mix it up. And so then, that's why after 30 days you call or send them a message again. After the 12-day period, so the 12-day you go in and you meet, you go in, you meet them, you talk with them, then you're going to wait another 30 days. Basically, from the 12-day period, you've now reached out to them 4 times in about 24 days. That's an average roughly of once a week, a little over once a week actually. So we want to give them a little more time before we follow up with them again, especially since we just made a visit to their location. If they haven't done something by now, they might not be interested. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait a total of 30 days. And after 30 days, then you can actually call them, message them, or email them again to try and see if you can get in to meet with them, or if you're just checking up, whatever. But that's how I really like to do it. So following up with your prospects is a good way to convert contacts into clients. So long as you are presenting yourself as helpful and courteous of their time, they really won't care. Okay? So if there isn't a response or any engagement from the business whatsoever, then you should follow up again in a couple months. And then after that, if there still isn't a response, follow up every 4 to 6 months. So you don't just continue following up with them month after month and week after week. After a certain point, you have to realize that they might not need your services. They might have someone that's doing it already, or they can't afford it. There's several reasons why, but you need to determine what you need to do as far as reaching back out to them. So after the 30 days, I give it 2 to 3 months. Then I reach back out to them again. If they're still not willing to talk with me or haven't even responded, then I put them on like a 4 to 6 month schedule. If they haven't responded at all, obviously they get a longer mark, right? So 6 months as opposed to 4 months. And that's it. You just continually build that list, work them out into follow-up periods. So when you have someone who reaches that 6 month, time frame, you want to maybe move them into a separate document that is only your 6 month follow-up people. But just organize it the way that you need to work best and follow up. That's really all it is. That's going to increase your sales 30 to 40% just by following up with people that you've already talked to in the past. They've heard your name, and as long as you were courteous, you provided value, and you didn't take up their time and really just become a nuisance, they're going to talk to you, they're going to listen to you, they're going to take the value that you give them, especially if they're not using someone for marketing, and then put it into their business. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, leave a like below for me. That would be greatly appreciated. Also, throw a comment down there if you have any questions about the follow-up. The follow-up can be super effective if you use it the right way. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me about how I work my follow-up or just in general how it works, give me a message or a comment below, or shoot me a message at one of my social media channels below, and we'll talk about it there. Outside of that, guys, I'm going to get out of here. So, Serial Entrepreneur out. Ready to start living the 6-figure work wherever, be your own boss lifestyle? Well, at Serial Entrepreneur Academy, we'll teach you how to use a laptop and internet to start your own social media and digital marketing agency. Get started with our free Facebook ads training. Links in the description below, guys. See you in the course. Serial Entrepreneur out.